Kristen Brindley, publisher of DC Metro Real Producers, and I'm here with the wonderful Melissa Rich with Draper Kramer. Thank you so much for being on with us.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Hey, we appreciate you. Your partner spotlight was just in the DC Metro edition with the admin edition, and we're on page 40, our partner spotlight, and we appreciate you and all you do. And I mean, you never talk about this yourself, but you did over $162 million in business last year, 292 units. I love how important education is to you though. Like you lit up when you said you're a teacher's daughter, and we joked about being a military brat and really understanding, the people of the world. And I loved it. So tell me about this journey. Like, what is it that you do? And if you could tell me a little bit on the education piece, like just to start out with, because I love how you feel about that. So yeah, tell us about what you do, Melissa.
So oftentimes when I teach seminars, I do first-time home buying classes because I like to be able to teach clients. I don't want to talk at them. I don't want to say, oh, get a mortgage because you should, and it's that time. It's why don't I show you the numbers? Why don't I let you make the decision for you and your financial future? So for me, I lay it out there and I say, let's look at all the numbers and see what makes sense for you. And I think clients appreciate that. I treat clients how I'd want to be treated, and I'm very visual. So I tell clients, even though I understand math and numbers and I'm really good at it, I can't follow unless I see those numbers outlined to me. And I try to treat all my clients in the same manner, is let me show you these numbers because that's really important to me. I joke all the time with my clients, I'm daughter of educators. My dad was a professor at one point. My mom was a teacher. Being able to understand what you're actually doing creates a calm and almost yes, it's scary to buy a home loan. Buy a mortgage. That in itself, I think, is scary enough. Let me walk you back and put you in control. I always tell clients, I'm going to put you in the driver's seat and I'm going to give you quick and dirty numbers because I never want anything to be a surprise. So I focus on that part. I take the transparency. I create a lot of transparency in who actually controls your numbers, because you buyer, you control a lot of the numbers, but there's numbers outside of both of our control. And I try to sympathize in that side of what it feels like to not have a full understanding. You could be talking to an attorney who knows how to read something better than I could and interpret something better, but that doesn't mean that they understand mortgage paperwork. So that's what I try to do, is break it down for them to make it understandable and relatable. So I hope that helps.
I love that. And you've helped so many families with mortgages, and something that I loved. And tell me how you ended up in this industry and how you ended up doing mortgages for a living. If do you always think you'd be a lender? Like, tell us a bit about that.
No. And I say that, I often mention that too, is that I had to pay for college. So as a means to pay for college, I worked several jobs. And one of them was I was approached, I went to a church, and one of the members in the church said, you'd be really great interning at this company that I work for. And I was their first intern. And so they loved me so much, they kept hiring interns, but that actually turned me on to the mortgage industry. I was a sociology major. I still love human behavior. I still read it. I think a lot of human behavior happens when you buy a mortgage, and maybe that's why I empathize with them. But I fell in love with the business, how fast paced it was. And to me, that kept your day exciting. And so I also feel like somewhat of a detective. How can I strategically put you in every program possible? And how can I get you the best rate? So to me, that's a fun aspect. I had a lot of fun with it. I ended up graduating and changing from the sociology to business and saying, I'm going to join the mortgage industry. So I did that right out of college, and then the financial crisis hit. So that was almost immediate, like within the first year and a half. So that was really hard. I left the mortgage industry, if I can talk about that part now.
Yeah,
I went about 6 months without a paycheck because I kept hanging in there. Like, it's going to turn around. And when it wasn't turning around, I realized I can't go any further. I'd taken all my savings that I was so proud of. And, you know, I was only 24, 25 at the time. So I had to get out. I went over to private wealth management, and I'm really proud of that path because I felt like at the time I thought I was failing. And then now I look back and I'm really proud that it was kind of a stepping stone to help me keep going. So I learned a lot about private wealth management. That company at the time, it was RBC Wealth Management. They sent me through the CFP program at Georgetown. So I took the certified financial planning course. And I always tell clients the reason why I even bring that up is because I see one facet of building wealth is through home ownership. And I believe in that. I truly believe that that is one facet that you can help build your own wealth. So I fall back on that. And 4 years into that, I had to make a decision to move on with the top financial producer or leave. And I ended up leaving and going back to my old mortgage company. And I ended up making, doing really great. I could pick it up there too. And I stayed with them after that. So that's how I got to where I am today.
So how long have you been in now? Because 162 million, tell us about that progression. So wholesaling,
wholesaling to financial advising in the financial advising field for a few years, to rejoining the mortgage industry, working alongside another loan officer, helping them build their business, and then deciding to take on the route of myself being licensed and taking it on myself for the past 5 years. So it's a path that I was not expecting.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic though. It gives you a lot of different experience and different facets you can talk about, and you invest in homes. Like, can you tell us what do you feel like sets you apart, like makes you different?
Everybody else is given a system, like you're given a template, and I'll take that template and I'll take pieces from it, but I create my own template and create my own education piece that you kind of recreate your own marketing, because marketing gives you pieces that work for them, that works for the company. And I look at it, if I was a client and I saw this, how would I understand it? True, because marketing will give you these, here's a first-time home buying seminar template. And I'll say, thank you, but let me create it in a way that I think someone would want to see it.
So why is it so important to work with a great lender? Like, why is that so important?
I think the entire team is important. The lender, to me, the lender is not just somebody there to go, just type in your information. Okay, this is what you qualify and here's your rate. Yes, that can help, but I don't think that that's enough. It is preparing, especially in this current environment, is preparing them to escalate. So what I do when I talk to clients, again, this probably goes back to my sociology side, I sit there and I say, well, tell me what's your maximum, because I want you to see that and I want to create your own boundaries for yourself. So I tell clients, they often say, well, and I know we're probably going to have to condense it, so I'll have to figure out a way to say this, is instead of giving somebody their maximum qualifications, I find out where their maximum qualifications are for themselves. And then we go beyond that so that they create those own boundaries. Oftentimes I'll use the words, how do these numbers make you feel? Because that to me is more important. I want to hear from them, how do they feel about this transaction and how can I make it better?
What would you like to share with our real producers?
I feel like the only thing I can think of is what everyone's going through. This is a really tough market. You're throwing everything out there to win this. And that's where I feel like the loan officer comes in to be second to helping out the realtor, is if I've done my job and shown all the numbers and walked through all of those, that should be helping the realtor back them up with what they're doing.
Well, so Melissa, why did you decide to work with real producers?
So especially for myself, what I've learned in the DC area is that your name matters, and recognition of your name, and being able to be a part of something that I guess builds on that reputation. I really needed that, especially only being licensed for 5 years. is I needed for people to be able to call me and say, oh, I know who you are. I've seen you before. And it's not because I'm displaying my numbers. I'm not. So being able to have someone recognize my name builds confidence. And so to me, that speaks volumes as far as helping me make someone feel confident in my level of my business and what I'm going to be doing.
Melissa, I'm so glad you're part of Real Producers, and thank you for sharing your story with our Real Producers. You heard it here at Real Producers. Thank you, Melissa.